Hi, my name is Madeline Barton. I am a scientist.
The Ohlone people descended from the first people and were the first human beings we know of to populate the San Francisco Bay Area and have provided us with some of our earliest and still most dependable records and understanding of the seismic forces beneath our feet.
The Hermitash's shamanic priest descended into the earth. The shamanic priest drew the first maps of the Earth's crust fault lines. We are only now beginning to appreciate how far advanced the Castonian people were.
Though highly advanced, the Ohlone directed their development toward living sustainable, symbiotic lives with all the turbulent forces of their world. The precariousness of life and goods in the region led the Ohlone to direct their energies not to war or material gain, but toward understanding their world and themselves. The Ohlone knew not only when the earth would shake, when to hunt and plant what and where, but they also knew not to build too high and not to accumulate too much, for the earth itself taught them moderation and how to live simply in harmony with their world and each other.
The Ohlone people were really at one with the earth. They put their focus towards building up the earth and becoming one with it and helping one another. The Ohlone people had no surviving written records, but their wisdom was passed on to their ancestors, so it is still carried on today.
The erratic quakes and tremors of the region taught the Ohlone a novel way of passing on and developing their culture without harming the ecosystem of the region. They used the mountains, water, rocks, trees, and creatures around them to tell and preserve their greatest stories and wisdom. They would geographically locate the sites for rock and tortoiseshell mounds all along the peninsula, which when analyzed from a distance above are revealed to be a linguistic pattern of communication. Their most sacred texts and greatest discoveries of the ancients were encoded in the pattern they used to plant their hybrid trees all along the coast. Although settlers and the elements have greatly altered or destroyed what is left of these ancient groves, today, through breakthroughs in linguistic code computing and programming, we have begun to decipher the code they use to embed their teachings.
It is a very exciting time now for all of us scientists because we are now able to decipher their codes and to find out their wisdoms and their purposes that they embedded in these different features. We have done a lot of translation, but so far we have discovered what appears to be a lot of jokes, actually dirty jokes. They're not very funny, but they seem to hit a certain sense of humor that they had and was their way of communicating with one another and entertaining one another, we presume. It could also be that these messages of code were somehow jumbled by the earthquakes. Because of the shaking and rattlings of the earth during the earthquakes, perhaps some of these trees were not exactly where they were originally planted.
But it could be another sort, another layer of the ancients' coding, cloaking their wisdom in metaphor and symbols. It could be that we did not accurately predict how far much of this land has shifted and turned, taking the trees with it. We have to keep in mind, however, that the Ohlone likely did accurately predict these Platonic movements and would have anticipated the resulting message. But it could be another sort of the ancients' coding.
It appears that they weren't all just dirty jokes, but might have been showing off their wisdom to one another as a way of entertainment and pass it on from one to another.
It is a very exciting time, because we are just beginning to piece together a lot of what is left of their wisdom about how to live out our cosmic purpose.
The Ohlone people knew a lot of things that Western scientists have only begun to discover. For example, they believed that earthquakes could not only be predicted, but they could also be caused.